Fearless family, welcome back to another episode. I am pumped to have you with me here, and I am super grateful for all your responses around the podcast. It means the absolute world to me. So if you can continue to share it across your platforms, share it to the closest people around you, and hopefully they get something out of it as well, that would mean the world to me. Last episode, we spoke about my year in 2020 and how my perspective around boundaries changed and my ability to set boundaries kind of improved. It's always going to be a continuous improvement for me, being an all or nothing type of person, but the help of my parents definitely helped me through that for sure. So today I wanted to talk about the following season, everything leading into that, the whole year in 2021. 2021 for us people in Adelaide, we didn't have too many restrictions around COVID. We had a couple lockdowns here and there for 3 days, 7 days, but nothing huge. And so it allowed us to continue to play football the way that we wanted, and the season ran as normal. For us, I wanted to stay at Glenelg, or for me, I wanted to stay at Glenelg because prior to that, I've been to so many different football clubs and I just wanted some continuity. I wanted to stay at the same club and continue to build on the relationships that we had at Glenelg and just focus on winning finals football. And obviously had a coach there that was keen and interested in me and helping me to get to the highest level possible. He ended up leaving towards the end of that season, which congratulations to him. He got picked up by an AFL club. He went to the Brisbane Lions, which happened quite late. I don't know if I'd signed the contract or anything, but he left in December, and then we didn't get another coach until halfway through January. With the season starting in a couple months after that, that is not a lot of time to be able to impress and to be able to learn a whole new structure with the group that we did have. But for me, one of the biggest learnings out of that, I remember New Year's, I went to country Victoria with my girlfriend's family, and one of Tori's uncles is a marathon runner, and we decided to go for a run on New Year's Day. I was like, yep, we're going to set the tone for the year and go for a nice solid run. We ended up running 16 kilometers, and I've never ran that far just going straight in my life. We were running at a 4:11 pace, and the last couple kilometers, I remember him just taking off. He was like 50, 60 years old. I was like, surely it can't be this hard, like prior going into it. And then by the end, I was like, holy moly, like he's just a seasoned athlete and knows how to run those long distances compared to me, where footy's short, sharp, start, stop, get up, get down, get the ball, give it to someone else, sprint this way, sprint that way, go backwards, like so many different things and variables, whereas marathon running's just that one straight line. And with my stress fractures that I'd spoken about in previous episodes, they started to flare up a little bit, and after that run, it got quite sore the following few days after that. And when heading back to Adelaide, doing my gym sessions and that, it was just something wasn't right, and I was getting a little bit of treatment on it from the physio, and it's relieved a little bit for a short period of time, but then it would just come back. So I was on a modified program during the preseason because I was just trying to manage as best I could, and it got to a point where I couldn't manage anymore. So I went on to a modified program building into the season, which meant I couldn't play the league trial games because I wasn't at the stage that I needed to be fitness-wise and conditioning-wise, because I hadn't done much match sim before that. So I started in the reserves in the trial games, didn't really do too much in those reserves trial games to warrant any sort of selection. I would just be going off previous history to be able to perform in those sorts of things. But that was tough, especially with a new coach as well. Not being able to prove to the new coach that you are capable of playing league football. And our season that year, our league side went on to win 17 games straight. And it was so hard to crack in because obviously they weren't losing. And we didn't have many injuries at the time either. How do you make changes to a side that isn't losing and doesn't have any injuries? So I played in the reserves, was playing off the halfback, and we were similar. We were winning quite comfortably, and I felt like I wasn't really having any impact on any games, and I caught up with a coach halfway, or probably 3 or 4 games in, and I was like, is there any chance I can get up the field, whether it's to the wing or through the midfield? That's where I know I play my best football. Like, can I get up the ground? And he said he'll definitely push for that and try and get me up the field a little bit more to get involved. The next game, I remember we played Centrals out of Elizabeth, and I was up on the wing. I think I ran through the wing. Didn't have an amazing game, and I was quite frustrated. And for whatever reason, the draw played out that we played them the next week as well. And I remember going out there, I was like, I'm not going to play the way I did last week, that's for sure. I know. Ended up having 31 and 2 goals in that game, and was quite happy with how I performed. But obviously you want to be playing league football. So from that game, I think I set the intentions for the football club. I was like, I need to be playing through the midfield somewhere, whether it's the wing, whether it's through the midfield, and that's where I'm going to play my best football. Feel like I'm not getting utilised off the half-back. So played a few consecutive games through the wing, through the midfield, and was performing quite well. And it came to a point where I got to play some league footy again, and it'd been a while since I had played some league footy, so I was extremely nervous and wasn't sure if I was capable of the level again because I hadn't played it for so long. Ended up playing 3 games in the league side. First game we played North Adelaide, didn't really do too much. The conditions didn't quite suit it, whatever. I don't want to make excuses, but didn't play amazingly. We then played, I can't remember who we played in our second game, but I know we played Eagles in that third game, and we had a win, but we had a couple boys that were seasoned halfback players that came into the side. I got moved to the halfback during my second game because we had injuries, and yeah, it just played out that way and ended up getting dropped back to the reserves. And at that point, I knew that I wasn't going to be playing league football for the rest of the year because it was just the feeling that I had and the energy that was around. I knew I wasn't going to be playing. So I kind of took that pressure off in a way. And I was like, you know what? I'm doing what I can. I'm just going to enjoy the season, playing in the reserves, not expect to be playing league football, and just try and play really good football at reserves level. We had an amazing group of footballers. Like, the players in our group could have, like 75% of them could be playing league football at any sort of club. So we had quite a good group. We went through the finals, and we ended up making the grand final. For whatever reason, I was put starting in the midfield, and I was not mad about that at all. Like, I was so happy. It's all I ever wanted throughout the season was to start through the midfield, and I got it on grand final day and had a good start to the grand final. I had 15 touches, 5 clearances, and a goal up until halftime. We went into halftime losing, and for whatever reason, I got moved to the half-back line, which I was disappointed with because I felt like I was performing quite well and could contribute to us winning that grand final. But for whatever reason, the coaches wanted to put me back to the half-back line. They knew I could play different positions, which is a good thing about playing multiple roles. You can play different positions. Like, I started the game half forward, went into the midfield for majority of it, then went to half back in the second half. And it's great that you can play different positions. But for me, I wanted to play AFL. Like, I don't want to be moved around all the time in different positions. I need to be dominating one position to get noticed by different clubs. So it was a little bit disappointing, but at the end of the day, we won that grand final. And it was the best feeling in the world. Like, we'd put in quite a fair bit of work leading up. I knew going into it, we had the team to win it. We just needed to perform on the day. And in that second half, we just took over, and it was an incredible feeling knowing halfway through the last quarter that it's pretty much all wrapped up and that you've won the grand final. I finished off the day with, I'm not sure, between 20 and 25 disposals, a goal and 5 clearances or whatever it was. And it was just an amazing experience. And I think at the end of that, actually, what I want to go through is the feedback that I got from the Glenelg coach. And it was very similar to the year before in the fact that they've found a midfielder and that they're going to promise that they'll play me through the midfield that following year. And the end of the year, or sort of halfway through the year, I knew I wasn't going to play for the Glenelg Football Club the following year. I'm an all or nothing person, so I gave everything to the Glenelg Football Club whilst I was there. But I knew that the following year I wasn't going to be there because 2 years in a row I've been told that we've got a midfielder at the end of the year in finals because I performed well in finals, which is great. But when it comes to it, and I always get moved. When it comes to crunch time and the pressure is on from the coaches, I always get moved to a position where they need me, which was amazing that they have trust and faith in me to perform in that position. But at the same time, I need to be playing in my best position possible to be able to get drafted. And for me, that's the midfield. So I left the club at the end of that year purely based off the fact that I want to take my career into my own hands. And the club that I was going to next, I said that to them. I said, I have been moved around so much. I just want to settle into a position and own that position because I keep getting moved around, which is awesome, but I want to be playing at the highest level possible. I don't want to be playing reserves league football. I want to be playing in an AFL system. And to be able to get there, this is what I need to do. So my advice to you young kids coming through is take your career in your own hands. Just because you're at a particular football club, I spent 10 years or so at the Glenelg Football Club because I started there when I was in under 13s. I spent so much time there. Don't feel like you owe it to them just because you've been there for so long. Like I love the club. I had nothing against the club, but at the end of the day, I've got higher aspirations that I wanted to achieve. I love the players there, the coaches, everything, but I wanted to play at the highest level possible and I wasn't getting that opportunity. So if you're not getting that opportunity, take your career into your own hands. Don't let someone, a particular coach, a particular player or organization hold you back from getting to where you want to go. That's the biggest piece of advice. And in that process, I want you to stay fearless because it takes a lot of courage to be able to stand up for yourself and say, hey, no, I want to achieve this and this club is just not aligning with where I need to get to. And that is okay. Not every club or person or coach is going to agree with what you want to do. But as long as you believe in yourself and you believe that you're good enough, you have the confidence, you back yourself, and you don't care about what other people are going to say along the way, you're going to get there, but you got to take your career into your own hands. That's all I'm going to say. I hope you got something out of this. Stay fearless.